Be me, 22, average guy, nothing special. Work at a coffee shop to pay rent, going to community college part-time. Coworker is this girl named Jess. She has a "the future is female" pin on her apron and a "smash the patriarchy" tote bag. Rolls eyes every time a male customer is slightly rude. We actually get along fine though. One day our manager Dave pulls me aside, says I am being promoted to shift lead. Jess was also up for the same role. Did not think much of it at the time. Next morning Jess comes in quiet, slams the portafilter harder than usual, does not look at me. I ask what is wrong. She says, "You know what is wrong? I genuinely do not." She says Dave picked me because I am a man. I say maybe Dave just liked my numbers. She says my numbers are barely better than hers. I check later. She is right, barely any difference. Now I am thinking about it. Dave does kind of always talk to the male staff differently. Pats shoulders, makes jokes, lingers longer, calls the women girls and the men guys. Small stuff, but it adds up, I guess. I start paying more attention. Dave schedules me for better hours without asking. Jess has to argue for the same shifts. He explains things to her twice even when she gets it first time. I never noticed before because it was never aimed at me. Bring this up casually with my buddy Marco. He says Jess is probably just bitter she did not get promoted. I say maybe, but also the scheduling thing is real. Marco says, women always find a way to make it sexism. I sit with that for a bit because, Marco is not a bad guy, but he also has never had to fight for a decent shift. Neither have I. We just showed up and got them. Week passes. Jess and I are closing together. She is still cold. I ask if we can just talk like adults. She says fine. She explains she has been at this job 8 months longer than me, trained 3 people including me, has 0 write-ups. And I got the promotion after 6 months. I did not have a good answer for that. I say maybe I should talk to Dave. She laughs a little, not happily, says, "You think that will do anything?" I say I do not know, but it feels wrong to just accept it. She looks at me differently after that. Next day I go to Dave, casual, not accusatory. Just ask what went into the promotion decision. He lists stuff like leadership presence and commanding respect. I ask what that means specifically. He kind of fumbles. Says customers respond well to me. I ask if the customer feedback scores support that. He looks annoyed. Says I am overthinking it. I tell him Jess has more seniority. He says seniority is not everything. I say okay, but what is the thing she is missing? He cannot name it, gets defensive, ends the conversation. Tell Jess what happened. She is quiet for a second. Then says, "Thank you for doing that." I say it did not actually change anything. She says, "I know, but still, that hits different for some reason." Start reading a bit about workplace bias. Not like becoming an activist, just curious now. Find studies on identical resumes with male and female names. Male names consistently rated more competent, not by men only, by everyone including women, show Marco. He says studies can be manipulated. I say sure, but this is like 40 studies across different countries. He says, "So what do you want me to do about it?" I say nothing, just thought it was interesting. He changes the subject. Few weeks go by. Dave announces a new shift lead position opening up. Bigger responsibilities, small pay bump. Both Jess and I apply. This time Dave says he will make it formal, scored interview. We both do the interview with him and the regional manager. Jess absolutely crushes it. I give okay answers, but she is sharper. Everyone in the room can feel it. She gets the role. Dave announces it like he personally championed her. Acts like the last few months never happened. Jess accepts gracefully, does not make it a moment. Later, I tell her she deserved it. She says she knows. I laugh. She laughs too. Things are less tense after that. We actually start talking more during shifts. She is pretty funny when she is not annoyed at the world. Oh, maybe she was always funny. And I just never paid attention. One night we are restocking and she asks me something. Asks if I think Dave is actually sexist or just oblivious. I think about it seriously. Say I think oblivious people cause the same damage as intentional ones. She says that is a very careful answer. I say I'm still figuring it out. She says that is fair. Says most guys never even get that far. I say that is a low bar. She says you have no idea. Marco finds out Jess got promoted over me. Says the company is doing diversity hires now. I say she interviewed better than me, it was scored. He says, sure it was. I feel something shift in how I see Marco. Not like I hate him. He is still my friend. But I see the ceiling he has put on his own thinking. And I do not want that ceiling. Semester ends at the college. I take a sociology elective next term on a whim. Professor is this older woman who does not perform outrage, just presents data and asks questions. It is the most uncomfortable class I have taken. We read about systems, not just individuals. About how bias does not need bad intentions to function. About how people benefit from systems without building them. I think about the shifts I was handed without asking. And the shifts Jess had to argue for. Marco says I am being brainwashed. I say I just read a book. He says it is the same thing. I stop trying to explain. Jess and I grab food after a shift one night. She asks about school. I tell her about the sociology class. She asks what surprised me most. I say honestly how normal I thought everything was before. She nods, says that is the whole thing right there. Says when it is normal for you, you do not see it as a system. You just see it as the world. I say yeah. She says she spent years thinking she was just bad at advocating for herself. That maybe she was not confident enough, not assertive enough, not whatever enough. And then she started comparing notes with other women. I ask what changed when she did that. She says everything and nothing. The problems did not go away. But at least she stopped blaming herself for them. That felt like something. We sit with that for a bit. I think about my dad. Good man, worked hard, never cruel. But he always referred to his female coworkers by their first names and male bosses by their titles. Never noticed until right now, eating a sandwich. Do not know what to do with that information. Not like I can call him and say, hey, you had subtle bias. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I will not. I do not have it figured out. End of year. Dave gets moved to another location. New manager is a woman named Rita. She is no nonsense and extremely competent. Marco does not like her. Says she is too aggressive. I ask what she has done that is aggressive. He lists things that are just managing, setting expectations, giving direct feedback, holding people accountable. I point this out. He says I am being pedantic. Think about how Dave did all those same things. And Marco called him a strong leader. Do not say that out loud. Just file it away. Rita reorganizes the scheduling system. Makes it transparent, posted on a shared board. Everyone can see hours, everyone can request changes the same way. Within a month, the low-grade tension on the team goes down noticeably. Turns out a lot of resentment was about the invisible favoritism. Jess says, see what a little structure does. I say, why did it take a new manager to do this? She says, because the old one benefited from the fog. I think that is probably true. Year goes by. I'm still at the coffee shop, saving money. Jess gets recruited by a larger company, takes the job. We stay in loose contact. She sends me an article sometimes. I send one back. Marco and I still hang out. We just do not talk about certain things anymore. Which is its own kind of answer, I guess. I graduate community college, transfer to a 4-year school. On the application, they ask about challenges you have overcome. I almost write about money and working full-time. But I think about Jess and the scheduling board. And what it means to not even see the fog you are standing in. I write about that instead. Not perfectly, but honestly, get in. Do not know if the essay helped. Probably will never know. That is fine. Be me. 23 now, still figuring it out, still filing things away. At least I stopped calling that normal.